Hi, this is Eric Saylors, speech-language pathologist and owner of Expressive Solutions. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to animate images in an iOS app. Let's begin by creating a new project here in Xcode. I will use the shortcut Command-Shift-N. This will be a single view application. And I'll click Next, and I will call this Mouse Does Not Know. The reason for the name is because I have a series of images depicting a mouse shaking his head as if he doesn't know something. So I'll click Next and then Create. Now I'll go over to the storyboard to set up our user interface, and I'm going to drag an image view over to the view controller. Then I will set the width and the height. I happen to know the dimensions of the mouse images, so I'm going to set that right here in the size inspector. Alright, now I'm just going to center the image view. Next up, I would like to connect the image view up to my code. So I'm going to Control Drag Release just below the interface keyword, and I will call this my image view. Alright, now I'm going to go back here to our inspector, and I'll go to the Attributes inspector, and I want to make sure that I select this box to enable user interaction. This is going to be really important eventually to be able to animate our mouse images. Alright, speaking of our mouse images, what I'd like to do is find our images, which I have here on the desktop, and these are just a series of mouse images from our app StoryPals. So I'm going to make sure these are all selected and then drag them in to our project. And then I need to make sure that this checkbox is selected for the destination, and it is, so I'll click Finish. And now that we have those images in our project, I will go to our standard editor and then to the viewcontroller.m file. Alright, let's scroll down to View Did Load, and I'm going to create some images. This first one will be image 1, and we're going to call it Mouse 1 because that's the title of our first mouse image. Then I will copy this line of code and I'm going to paste it for all 5 mouse images. Now I can just rename these to mouse 2, 3, 4, and 5. Alright. Now I'm going to create an array for our images. I'll just call this image array. And I'm going to utilize a class method, array with objects, and here's where I will just add the 5 images. And the last one is image 5. Alright. Okay, now that we have that, we are going to access our image view. So let's go to Self, My Image View, and then let's take a look at some properties here. I see animation duration, animation images, and animation repeat count. I'm going to need all 3 of these properties for this particular project, but let's start off with animation images. So we're going to set this to image array. All right. Now, let's access those other properties. So let's do the duration. And from my previous tests, I know that 1.25 seconds is just about right for animating. And then our last property is going to be animation repeat count. And I want our animation to occur just one time in response to a user's touch. If I did not put in this last line of code here, our animation would just repeat an infinite number of times. Alright, so now that we have that set up, one more thing that I'm going to want is I just want the very first mouse image to be displayed when our app is launched. So the way I'll do that is by going to my image view, and I'm going to access a property called image, and this will just be image1. Okay, so now that we have this, let me actually run the app and we'll take a look at what we have. So we have our first mouse image, and if I were to tap on the mouse like so, nothing happens. I could tap really anywhere on the screen and we don't see any animating. So let's actually write some code to animate the mouse. I'm gonna actually go, let's go down here, and I'm going to implement a method called touchesBegan, because we're going to have to detect the user's touch. And I'm going to use a class called UITouch, and I'm going to call this touch. And then we're going to access a set called touches and a method called anyObject. Okay, so now that we have that, we want to detect if the user only touches the mouse, not anywhere else on the screen. I just want to animate the mouse if the user touches the mouse image. So we're going to use an if statement here, and we're going to go to touch, and there's a property called view, and we want to see if this is equal to self.myImageView. And if it is, we're going to call a method using self.myImageView start animating. So now let's see if this works. Alright, I'm going to touch the mouse, and it looks like he's animating just like we wanted. And if I touch somewhere else on the screen, he's not going to animate, only if I touch the mouse. So that concludes this video for demonstrating how to animate images. I'm Eric Saylors, speech-language pathologist and owner of Expressive Solutions. Thank you for watching.